So I have these nectarines and these peaches that are looking really sad. I want to use them up, but juicing hasn't been in the schedule lately. And honestly, we don't have a dessert. So I'm going to turn them into a crumble, a peach crumble. I'm kind of going to take a peach cobbler and the classic crumble recipe and merge them into one. And hopefully it works out, because I'm not the biggest fan of a peach cobbler. I don't like the cakey top over the peaches. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of it. But I do like a crumble. So I'm hoping that these will merge well together. And we're just gonna wing it, to be honest. I really hope it works. I will say that this did work out. It does taste very nice, but I didn't account for the fact that the peaches would be so sweet when they cook down. And it's very sweet. So if you make this, definitely cut back on the sugar. The crumble was fine. I feel like I put too much sugar in the fruit part to hide the color difference. Blueberries. Like I was saying, I normally make this crumble with apples or rhubarb or something along those lines, something that's a little bit more tart. And I forgot to account for the fact that peaches cook down very sweet. They're not as tart. So keep that in mind. Okay, now to the fruit and vegetables. There isn't much, so like it shouldn't taste. But this looks like a nice little fruit salad, to be honest. Okay, to this, we're gonna add about a teaspoon of vanilla. A little more. I'm gonna add half a cup of brown sugar. I'm gonna make it a half a cup of packed brown sugar. Half a cup in. We're gonna do a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of lemon, and we're gonna do a tablespoon of cornstarch and see how that goes. Now for the crumble top, we're gonna do a cup of oats. And I don't know if I have enough of these, and this is the last of my large flaked oats. So we'll find out. Oh! You know what? I'm just gonna put the rest of that in there. I have just enough. Large flaked oats, gone. Okay, now we need half a cup of flour. Half a cup of sugar. I went with just a bit under half a cup. A pinch of salt. Can we all agree that the best part of a crumble is the crumble top? If it doesn't have that little crispy on the top and the softness on the bottom, you didn't do it right. Truthfully, you could probably just serve me the crumble and I would love it so much. It's the best. In the oven for 35 to 40 minutes. I was actually forgetting that tonight is fried rice because we're trying to use up the rest of the eggs and the rest of that chicken thigh. Well, chicken leg, but there's a little bit of it missing. Anyways, so tonight is going to be fried rice with, again, cucumbers on the side because we have cucumbers galore. I think I have, I currently have 7 cucumbers in my fridge, and I have another, I think, 5 in the garden that are ready to pick. So just get ready to see cucumbers for the rest of this challenge, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna make up my rice now, spread it out onto a cooking sheet and put it in the fridge to cool so that tonight it's easier to work with. So for lunch today, I'm just warming up some of that lentil chicken chili. I'm having a scone to go with it, and then the rest of the pasta that I had made up, and Zainab is having a popsicle. She also had most of a peach, nectarine. I keep calling them peaches. Most of a nectarine. And she's probably going to steal half of my scone, but this is the only thing that she's wanting to eat right now. She's got a few teeth that are hurting a lot. I'm fine with it. It's literally fruit. And she might have a little bit of the rice that's ready. So, that's lunch. There was only about a quarter cup of that blueberry in there, but it really took over on color. Oh well, still nice. Make sure to spread your rice as thinly as possible to get the best results out of this. I'm preheating my pan, and we're gonna start on that fried rice. If you have a little bit of chicken to feed a lot of people or to consist of a whole meal, fried rice is pretty much always the go-to for me. That or a chicken pot pie. And it was a little too hot for a chicken pot pie this day, so we went with the fried rice. I also accounted for the fact that there would be protein from the eggs, so it kind of balances. I tried something that I saw on TikTok, and it was using your egg yolks to coat your rice so that your rice stays in individual grains rather than clumping up. And it also was supposed to add some like crispiness and color to the rice itself. Personally, I feel like when I had put a whole egg in my rice, I got a better browning because the egg white turns a darker color than the yolk. It browns up on the rice a lot better. So personally, I think that I would go back to a whole egg rather than separating them and save myself the hassle. But I tried it, and it's just not for me. Also, scrambling just egg whites felt kind of unnatural to me because I never do that. And then I found some egg rolls in the freezer that I had made up a couple of weeks ago. And I just kind of shallow-ish fried them. They're definitely fried. They're fried. This is not healthy in any way. There's cabbage and carrots in there, but does it really count after you've fried it in a spring roll? No, probably not. But, I mean, if I had ordered takeout, it would have been deep fried also. So, I mean, whatever. It was delicious. We enjoyed this meal so much. I just wish I had a little bit more soy sauce for that rice. So this was brunch, but we also had a lunch. It was a smaller lunch, but it was a really busy day where we were stacking wood, so we were a little hungrier than we normally are. So instead of a snack, we just had a lunch, and then we had a dinner. But it was a really busy day that day, so I had fried up some of that roast beef that my husband has in the freezer. Normally, he's the only one that eats it. He had convinced me on this day to make it as sandwiches. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it was really nice on these buns. And Zainab actually tried the meat, which was very different. She very rarely likes to try new things. She actually went ahead and tried this one, so that was nice. And then I made fries on the side, and we just finished up some cucumbers that we already had chopped up. That was some sriracha mayo that I had sitting in the fridge from a couple of days ago, so we used that up as well. And I chopped up almost a whole tomato. I just took off the blemish that was at the bottom. And that was also served on the sandwiches. This was delicious. We really enjoyed it. Zainab tried most of it. She refused to try the potato, of course, because she hates fries. She hates potatoes in all their forms for some reason. I don't know why. I've never seen a child hate potatoes, but... Oh no, I was remembering wrong. Okay, so we had early dinner, but it was a junk food dinner because we ended up frying our fries. We went with potatoes because my potatoes are getting soft in the fridge and they need to be used up. And you know what? We kept talking about poutine and fries and ordering out, and it's not in the budget, so we made it at home. And yeah. Currently in my fridge, I have 3 different kinds of bread, and we're just going to try to use that up in one go. So I have the rest of the bread that I made, the buns that I made for last night. Was it last night? No, the night before. And then I have this seasoned bun that we had tested. The cinnamon sugar one is long gone. It didn't even make it past the first night. It was so good. And then I have this one little lonely half piece of bread. I have this bag of meatballs left over. And I have this bag of meatballs that we got into because I couldn't find this one because my fridge is a mess. We're gonna top it up with some of this sauce. Now, I've made this before. We're just trying to use up the bread so that it doesn't go bad in the fridge. And currently I have some vegetables frying up in the pan so that I can add my meatballs to that, which I should be doing right now, to be honest, because these are looking mighty fine. We'll do 2 blocks of spinach. Oh, and I forgot, we're having a vegetable on the side, just a cucumber. Hello! You're so proud! Yeah, so we're having a vegetable on the side. My husband just lifted our toddler up to the window and surprised me. They're so stinking cute. They're playing outside while I'm making food. There you go. A cucumber. Ready to go. I'm microwaving some plain meatballs for my daughter. Just because I know that she doesn't tend to want to even try the ones in the red sauce. So covering all my bases, but she's still getting a little bit of this in her plate because that's the way we roll. Or at least we try to. Okay. That's about enough. Sorry, I was saying, I don't like biting into a meatball and it like squishing out the other side. So I mash up my meatballs for my meatball subs. And this is just what works for us. Hello! And this is what it's looking like. I also wanted to say that by smashing the meatballs into our sauce, we find that this keeps the buns from getting soggy. I don't know if it's because there isn't like a big blob of sauce just soaking up on its own into the bread and the fact that it's more evenly distributed through the mixture. But we find that like we can even let our bun sit a little bit through the meal and it won't be soggy. It won't have like soaked through or anything. So that's also a big reason why we do this. And as you guys saw, I separate our fries. So my daughter gets the softest ones because she's got the smallest teeth. My husband loves the crunchy fries and I like the soft fries, which works out perfectly because we never fight over fries. If it's a McDonald's fry or a takeout fry, I like the little crunchy ones at the end, but homemade fries or like big fat wedgie fries, I like the soft ones that feel like they have mashed potatoes inside, and my husband prefers the crunchy ones. Which, like I said, works out fantastic because we never fight over fries. But it does mean that sometimes I take way too long to separate our fries when I'm making a homemade meal. And you guys are about to see my plate. The cucumbers were on the side in a separate plate. I have a few items that I'm trying to use up before they go bad, or I have to stick them in the freezer. So we have this cream cheese, and then I have tomatoes from our neighbor's garden. He gave us a bunch of tomatoes yesterday. He came over with some. We traded off cucumbers for tomatoes, so that was nice. And he also put a stake in my garden so that my tomato cages that are holding my cucumbers don't fall over. So I'm gonna have to secure those because they were starting to lean over from the weight. And then last night I soaked up some of these red lentils to make wraps with, and I put popcorn flavoring, the cheddar one specifically, with garlic in my lentil wraps. It makes the best wraps. They taste so good. So that's what we're making this morning. It's gonna be a vegetable wrap because we don't have eggs. We don't have bread, so that's what we're having. Okay, so to my blender cup, I am going to add about 2 teaspoons of the white cheddar, white cheddar powder. Goodness. And 2 cloves of garlic. And about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna fill this up with water. Okay, so it was a little too runny, so I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of this besan chickpea flour. Not sure if you guys can tell yet, but I get bored of food pretty quickly and I like to change things up, try different techniques, try different ways of cooking specific foods. Sometimes it'll be the same recipe, but I will end up just switching the way that I make it. And I like to try different things quite often. I'll either see something on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, my news feed, keep it in the back of my mind, and then one day I just decide, oh yeah, I really wanted to try this and I have the energy to try something new, and I just go for it. And a lot of times that's just how things are. My husband is so used to it, it's crazy. He doesn't even question it anymore. He just goes along with it, gives me his rating at the end of the meal, and tells me like, yeah, I'd have this again, or maybe not anytime soon, which to him means please don't make this again. He's just really nice. But I normally only get that comment if it was something that was heavy on beans. I remember now. Okay, this was the day that we had somebody come and help us. We had the breakfast, the lunch was the leftover rice, and I didn't even film my garden harvest because we had so much going on. And then we ended the day by barbecuing, which is honestly the perfect way to end a day outside. Even though I had taken out this chicken over 24 hours ahead of time, put it in the fridge to thaw out properly and all of that spiel, I had the hardest time cutting it because it was still frozen. We were actually supposed to butterfly this chicken and put it on the grill, and we decided not to do that because it was still frozen. And then we just cut it in half, which gave me even a harder time than just butterflying it. But yeah, so I finished away on this, and it took, I think, like 10 minutes for me to actually cut through this thing. She's a little crispy, but she's all there. But it was worth it because this was so delicious. This chicken was so nice. We really, really enjoyed it. I will admit that I don't normally temp my chicken due to it being in the Instant Pot for a minimum of 30 minutes. And then over that, I put it under the broiler for a solid 5 to 10 minutes, which normally by the time that it's done in the Instant Pot, it's falling apart. So that's a pretty good indicator, but I did tempt this chicken and it was perfect. I most definitely have a fear of uncooked chicken and fish, but this one came out perfect, thankfully. And that's it for this video. Thank you all for making it this far, and we love and appreciate you. See you next time.